like any emotion I would have would be a manic emotion. Like I would like be super happy, then I'd be super kind of like mad if there was a situation. Then I would just be super manic emotions, and my mind was racing all the time. Like I couldn't sit still in my house.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah!
Thank you very much for coming back to the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was you mentioned it. It was over a year ago that we sat down the first time.
My goodness, yes, it was. Yeah, I think it was one of the
January.
first podcasts that you produced. I believe.
It was. I think it might have been it was the first one we recorded.
Oh,
It
okay.
was the second one I think that we posted.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, you were the very first guest that we ever had, and now you're like, okay, well, there's a big list on that board right there, and you're kind of at the end of the big group of it.
Yeah.
So you're like the 20th or 21st, 19th episode of season 3, and we've only posted the second one this past Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
And I say this past Tuesday, when this goes up, that'll be months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very, very interesting, but I'm super happy to chat with you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
you mentioned something to me the other day, and we're going to get back into the topic of what we were discussing about getting help for your business. But you mentioned to me the other day, if it's okay to talk about it, that
Please,
you
please.
found out that you were actually dealing with something, a bit of a struggle that you didn't know you had,
Yeah.
that comes from the mental clarity or unclarity of what's going on in your life.
Yes, yeah. No, I'm very happy to talk about it. Not only how it's changed my life for the positive, but I mean, it's really one of those things that goes undiagnosed for a lot of people. So, my condition is called cyclothymia. So they call it cyclothymia because I would go through these cycles. Okay, so cyclothymia is right below bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. So what happens is also with cyclothymia is that if you don't get it treated or if you don't know you have it, it turns into bipolar. So if you're able to kind of figure out what's going on now, what's happening with me, and I'll explain kind of what the symptoms and everything were. So my whole life, my brain's always moved pretty quickly. You know what I mean? I'm always just like on fire, always able to handle, multitask, do a lot of different things, at once, and and you don't really know, you know what's the difference in your mind, right? So you're like, this is just how I've always been, right? But with cyclothymia, what happens is as you get older to a certain age, it starts really coming out. Now, I'll explain what that means. So in the past, I would be me being impulsive was a good thing. It was entertaining. We'd go here, we'd have fun, all this kind of stuff. And me being like my brain moving really quickly was good for business, was good for me to kind of be on point, be able to be witty in conversation. It was all working for me. But the last couple years, mostly my wife was kind of noticing something is I started to become extremely uncontrollably impulsive and also manic emotions. So for example, like any emotion I would have would be a manic emotion. Like I would like be super happy, then I'd be super kind of like mad if there was a situation. Then I would just be super manic emotions, and my mind was racing all the time. Like I couldn't sit still in my house. I couldn't, man. I was like literally walking around as I'm having a conversation with my oldest son, doing the dishwasher, walking around, filling the salt shaker, filling the pepper shaker, kind of then walking and then doing the laundry, clicking that as I'm having a conversation. And what ended up happening was, and I thought it was a superpower for a long time because I could multitask. And I always used to say that I could get so much done in the morning compared to everybody else. Like I would say that I do more by 8 in the morning than people do the whole day. And it's kind of true at that point. What ended up happening is that I really was just concentrating on 6 steps ahead instead of where I was today. I wasn't present because I was always thinking about, okay, if I move this over here, that's going to help me in 6 months from now. I was looking at all the puzzle pieces and putting it together. And then I knew that something was kind of not going well is because I'd wake up in the morning and say that there was a song that was on the radio any song. I mean, like for example, I don't know what Adele was on. My wife was listening to in the background. I would wake up in the morning and boom, that song would be on in my head, but from beginning to the end. Every lyric, every drum beat, every guitar, every piano, every word I knew. And it was just, I couldn't stop it until it was over. So all of a sudden, my thoughts I couldn't really control. It was just starting to kind of overtaking me, and my thoughts were racing. I'd walk into a room and I'd be able to observe everybody in the room in a matter of seconds and tell you what they're wearing. I could give you a story about the guy with the top hat or the woman that's wearing a sweater. It was just like consuming. Mind was just running and racing at all times at high level, and got to the point where it was really really difficult, and I didn't notice. And because when you're in it, you don't know it, man. It's mental. It's not like I broke my arm and it's like, hey, look, you broke your arm. Like, okay, let's go get it fixed. So what ended up happening, I was just kind of just mentally just just all over the place. And my wife suggested and my therapist suggested go to a psychiatrist to see what's going on. So I sat down and described my feelings to the psychiatrist, and she's like, you are you have to read what the symptoms are of cyclothymia. And each one of them was me to a T. I mean, it was like just describing everything that I was going through.
Is it does it have something to do with the inability to filter your thoughts? Because it sounds like all of us, we have so many thoughts going on in so many seconds of a
Of
day,
course.
but it sounds like you have a funnel that's like this big,
Yeah.
and it's this big all the way to the
The ground.
receptor.
Yeah.
It doesn't come into this where you're able to pull out the thoughts that you need to focus on
Yeah.
in the moment. Is that
That's a really good way to put it. That's basically what it was. Me thinking of everything at once. You know what I mean? And not pulling. Okay, we need to deal with this today. We don't have to deal with the Italy trip that's 7 months from now. But I would be dealing with the Italy trip 7 months from now while dealing with my company, thinking about my son's report card. You know, like all at once. And for a long time, it was something I could handle until it was something I couldn't. And of course, the person I love the most, my wife, she was really noticing a real big difference. And there was a big difference in my impulsiveness. You know what I mean? I would just feel like I wouldn't even, she would have an idea or something, and I'd be like, all right, I just bought two of them. Like, wait, hold on a second. We didn't even talk about it. I would just be so impulsive and I couldn't stop it. So, and I learned with this is that it's, I got very, very fortunate because I was able to find it early. And basically, it's my receptors in my brain were just a little off. I was able to find a medication. Usually it's very difficult with mental issues, is that it takes a long time to find that right dose. You can go through like six different types of medication, what works, what doesn't work, side effects, all these different things. So if you look at it, cyclothymia, let's call it like 10 different, from zero to 10. The closer you are to 10, the closer you are to one of bipolar one. Same thing. I'm luckily that I'm like on the lower half of that. So a lot of people in my situation are taking like 250 milligrams of this certain medication a day. I'm just taking 50. So all I needed was just a quick, like a little adjustment, man, and it just has changed my life considerably. Like I have been so present with my family, my business, I'm so I don't think I've ever been this happy in my whole
really?
life. It's clear. I don't have the noise anymore. And the one thing, Bradley, that is really crazy, I guess is a bad choice of words. It was what's really for me is you don't know you have a problem until the problem is gone mentally. When you're mentally going through stuff, you don't know you have a problem because it's just the way you are. It's just, oh, this is normal, right? This is how I am. I'm built. And then, but this has changed my life. I'm no longer impulsive. I'm no longer thinking about 17 steps ahead. The funnel's kind of gone down to the moment. I'm able to think clearly about right now. I'm able to be present for my family. My business has really taken off just in the last 7 months because I'm able to be super present at what I'm doing. I'm super focused. Um,
And you're saying that it's because you are on the this particular medication at
yes.
50 milligrams
Yeah.
that you take once a day, twice a day.
Yeah. 25 in the morning, 25 in the
Oh, okay,
evening.
so it's 50 for the day.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this has whatever was slightly just askew, this
It
particular
connected to,
medicine has connected it to kind of bring you back down to a bit more of a calmer state of mind.
yeah, it's a happier state of mind.
Okay.
And I didn't know how unhappy I was. You know what I mean? I just pushed through. And one of the things that my psychiatrist said to me, which was really, she goes, "Look what you've accomplished with this issue." And I have a really good life. I really do. And 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 look what you're going to do now, because now that's not in your way. You were literally doing all this with a huge roadblock in front of you that you just kept getting through every single day. You know, so yes, that medication is just that thing just connected just enough. Um, you know, for me, it was a very difficult at first, not the medication, but just to think that I have to be on a pharmaceutical for the rest of my life, right?
So absolutely, I can understand that. I've had conversations before my father had passed. I had conversations with him with the fact that that generation had so much faith in the white coats,
Yeah,
right? And all new age medicine wasn't really something they would look at because they just had so much, you know, the white coat said, I have to take this and I'll be fine. And then they take it the rest of their life. And I have an issue with chemicals that it's like, I don't want to be dependent on a chemical to make this be the way it is.
100%.
So I try to facilitate practices that I believe over a long period of time will get me to where I need to be.
Yeah, I believe the same thing for so long as
Now
well.
there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
If it's working and it
Yeah.
has no repercussions to it, then I'm all absolutely
Yeah.
to live a happier life. If that's what it takes, it's
Yeah.
what it takes. Do you feel that now that those receptors have kind of aligned and you're not basically rushing
Through
through the
life.
day,
Through life.
right?
Yeah.
In a slow period of time, you're moving at like 200 miles an hour. A half a block for me is like 20 streets for you.
Yeah.
Do you find that the awareness of being more present is easier for you to grasp now?
Oh, yeah. And that's what makes my life so much happier. I wake up happy about today and right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy to I'm not thinking about a thousand different things. Because I was so good, I could be talking to you right now completely, but I'm having like 17 other conversations in my head about what else needs to be done in the next 6 months. But that's how good I was at it. Like I could literally be focused, but now I'm just talking to you. And I
Exactly.
know that for people out there, it's gonna be like, that seems so simple. Like, no,
Well,
it's if for someone like me, it wasn't.
I think if anyone took the actual time to reflect on in the moment that they're in right now, and this is where I'm at with this type of thing, is being aware that there are 1,500, however many thoughts running through your head at any given time, to slow all that down and be what's called present, meaning we're talking.
Mhm,
And when you're talking, I'm listening. I'm
mhm,
not thinking about 5 steps down the way. I'm
mhm.
not worrying about what else is out there in the world.
Yeah,
I'm present in the conversation so that I can be more accessible to you and be more beneficial
yeah,
in the situation.
yeah.
So this new thing that's happening, you've been how long?
7 months.
7 months.
Mm,
So thankfully you have a loving wife
yeah,
who's obviously a great support system who noticed there were
yeah.
certain things about you that just weren't on point, and together collectively you went and sought out help.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it did kinda get to a breaking point in all honesty, because it started getting so bad, and I wanted my brain to just shut off and stop because I couldn't sleep. I was just, like, mentally just exhausted, that I started self-medicating with alcohol. But the funny part is you think, "Oh, alcoholics, you drink all day long and night." It wasn't even that for me. It would just be like, "You know what? I need to have a couple of drinks just so I could sleep tonight." You know what I mean? And then over time, that just becomes a habit, which which with a mood disorder like I have, alcohol is your enemy. You don't want to alcohol changes your mood because of your, hangovers and or drinking or things like that. So so I just got to the point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I can't, meaning that my brain and Emily was like, I'm noticing this, but it's weird. You have to get to the point where you're ready to go figure out if you need help or not, because you're always saying to yourself, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'll get through this. I'll get through this. Because I've always persevered in everything I've done in my life, just push through and I'll figure it
And
out.
you've been successful at it.
Exactly. So there was never like in my life, I was never been like, that didn't work, Michael, but somebody said something to me that's really prominent, is like, what worked yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work today. And
Facts.
that was a really big lesson for me to learn on this whole journey that I've been on. And, also at the same time too, is like with this a couple things I want to go through on this is we go back to the white coats. go back to the medication. We both are like, I've always been like, I can work this out, meditation, eating well, working out, but this is something that I needed help with. Now, I had a real good, right now with like mood disorders, bipolar, depression, post traumatic stress, right now mushrooms are really something that's helping
Microdosing.
microdosing.
Mhm.
And, one of my cousins actually is a person that walks people through this in terms of, to get through using microdosing and using and things like that. And we had a conversation. I remembered something is that when I would recreationally microdose, that's how I would feel like I feel right now, clear, in the moment, present. And we had a real big conversation. I'm like, every time I would eat microdose or eat,
Go on a trip.
go on a
Yeah.
trip,
Yeah.
I would be so myself more than ever. Because I would feel so present in the moment, thoughtful, not 6 feet. So she was like, so I'm thinking for myself in years, maybe from now or whenever it's available, that would be a great transition for me in medication wise,
I mean, it is available.
well, not in Florida, kind of a
Oh, no?
no, it's not.
Okay.
It's not like it will be like available as a medication that people can write. For example, my psychiatrist literally said to me, if we lived in a different state,
We'd
I'd be
be
giving
on
you
this,
different
yeah.
medicine.
No, and that makes sense too, because I do know some of the people that I know who have gone through mental disorders are on, like, they have mushroom chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Where they get it, I don't know, but they
No,
do
yeah.
have it, and they do regularly microdose
Yeah.
so that they can live a bit more of a level spot.
Yeah.
My question to you, being that you are a very successful individual, you're a very strong man, you get shit done. When the wife and you had this conversation of like, okay, let's take some steps to figure out why this is happening,
Mhm.
and you then found out that you actually were laying on this line of
Yeah.
disorders, as a man, how did that make you feel?
That's a really good question because, as a man, it's hard to admit you need help, and it's also my superpower was my mind. I got to where I was because of this superpower for me to be able to think things quickly, make decisions quickly, assess situations in milliseconds, and kind of just move forward. And when my mind started working against me, it was part of my identity that I was losing, or my superpower. Like my kryptonite. What ended up happening was my biggest asset started becoming my biggest deficit. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So that's when for me it was like that's when I got like, okay, something's not right. But in terms of like how did it make me feel? It made me feel like anything's better than this. I didn't get like I was like anything's better than what I'm going through. You know what I mean? So I'll try it. And then when I got the positive outcome from it, it really, really, really made me so happy that I did ask for help and I got the help that I needed because a lot of people don't do that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people in my situation, which is equally worse, is that we'll get medication, they'll feel good, and they're like, "Oh, I don't need this anymore. I feel great now." And then then they'll go back to the medication. Then they'll just keep going through that ups and downs. So I'm like I'm committed. I'm all in. Like I actually went to therapy this morning before I got here, and I was just talking about how I feel like you remember when you were a kid and you went to like an amusement park and it was like the best thing ever, and you're looking up at all these big roller coasters and stuff, and you're like, if I could live here for the rest of my life, there's cotton candy, there's a funnel cake. I had four. Like you wanted to stay there, right? And if you could, you would. For me, I feel like I'm at the amusement park, and it's my choice to stay if I want to, and I don't ever want to leave because of the relief that I feel. Man, I feel like a completely different person. I feel like I'm literally the best version of myself, and it couldn't have come at a better time because I'm in my mid 40s, and I feel like the second half of my life is going to be better than the first half.
Life is just starting.
It's just starting. I feel like a new person. Like I feel like I'm just being reborn. And with this medication, by the way, too, because I tried. You can't drink alcohol on it because, oh, dude, it is like you drink one drink is like drinking three.
Okay.
It's just very not good for you. So of course I had to test it out, but But I learned a lesson that I can't do that. But I haven't had a drink in 7 months. I don't miss it
Totally
at
fine.
all. Oh my gosh. I haven't missed it at all. I feel like, because it never really was my thing anyway. It just like needed something for my brain to stop at some points, at some times. Because remember, it's cyclothymia. So when I was here, I wouldn't even drink for 3 or 4 weeks, you know? But then when I start dipping down here and my brain was like running at 1,000 miles per hour, I'll be like, oh, I need to get some rest. Then I was in my highs. That was, we'd have fun and go to parties. It's
I get it. I'm interested. I've said this many times. I want to go to a therapist because there's a lot of questions I have to
yeah,
ask someone who has studied the psychology
yeah,
of the brain. And I've been in very similar situations before. I've expressed it many times here about how I used to go and drink every single night so
yeah,
that I wouldn't have to think, so that I could sleep. However, I'd wake up hungover, feel like shit, get to work, do my job, say I'm never doing that again. By 3 p.m., I'm like, well, fuck it. Maybe I'll go out tonight for like one drink, and cycle, all the time. The interesting thing that you just brought up, and again, why I love what I do here on the
yeah,
podcast, is because everything just kind of seems to come full circle with all the different guests that sit in that chair. And talking about those feelings, those emotions that you
yeah,
had when you were a young person of pure happiness. Because when we were younger, that's what we were born with. We were born with pure happiness and this enlightenment and this like awe of the world. And then we kept getting kind of swatted on the nose constantly for doing things that our parent thought we shouldn't do, like jumping on a coffee table. I've said that before.
yeah,
Or leaving the door open, or your lights on in your bedroom. Like so many little things that you were told, no, 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 which inevitably puts you into this adulthood of responsibility where so many of us forget that childlike enthusiasm that we once had for so many things.
yeah,
And the fact that you say, like, where you are now is an everyday feeling of that childlike enthusiasm, that happiness. And what you've done is you've been able to tap into the past where you remember what that feeling was. And
mm,
that's how you're able to say, right now, I feel like that because it's the same feeling I had when I was 10 years old at
yeah,
the amusement park. A practice that I try to do right now and I try to share with people is very simply is when life is getting tough for me, right? It's apparently statistically proven or factual that you cannot have both a positive and a negative thought in your brain at the same time.
mhm,
So anytime a negative comes into my head, I try to think of a positive, which puts a smile on my
yeah,
face, which gets rid of that negative,
yeah,
at least for a minute.
yeah,
So I've tried to put myself in those situations of youth where I did certain things that made me feel that level.
yeah.
And then I try to implement that practice every single day. That
Change your
anytime
mindset.
anytime the mood comes over me that doesn't want to be happy, it's sort of like, but wait a second, I totally remember what it was like riding my bike to the corner store and the freedom I had doing that.
Yeah,
And that just like you literally can feel that energy in your body. And then you're like, well, fuck it. Why don't I just choose to feel like this right now?
yeah, yeah. And and I'll take it a step further, because this is something I've actually been practicing for the last couple of years. When I started really getting manic, and you know, my therapist said to me, "Tell me some times that you were the happiest when you were younger." Back in the 80s, man, you rode your bike like
Everywhere.
everywhere. Now, you know what I mean? I I wonder if you had a Fitbit or like an Apple Watch, we put on miles, because your
Absolutely.
friend didn't live near you.
Hell no. And you couldn't call, like, I mean, I guess you could have called them, but the whole point was your parents said, why don't you ride over to your friend's house and see if they can
Yeah.
go do something?
Yeah, yeah. I don't like, as tractor trailers are running down the street, like they're like, you'll be fine. But no, so for me, riding my bike was always really fun, and playing the drums was therapeutic. So my therapist said to me, then go do that. So if you're having a bad day, go do that. So, or if you're having a time, or if you want some time for yourself, so I began riding my bike and been like doing like 11 miles on Sundays, or riding my bike with my son. What, but what I found is that it brings that joy, that childhood joy back when I'm on my bike. I feel free, and it kind of just connects those things together. And then also playing the drums. Like, I rented a studio for a long time on Sundays, and I'd go play the drums. Just get the energy out. So not only thinking about it, but actually practicing it is kind of like, it's weird how you just come over it. Calmness comes over you when you get back into that mindset, like you're saying. I think I'm more behind it.
And we do forget the positive reinforcement that we give ourselves when we do the hobbies that we once did as a
Yeah.
child. You don't necessarily have to become a professional drummer.
No,
But if it
it's not
puts you
about that.
if
Yeah.
it puts you in a state of mind of happiness and calmness, why the fuck not do it?
Yeah. But when I am by myself playing the drums, though, I definitely am in an arena.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
The
dude,
best
even
drummer in the
better,
world.
right? Best drummer in the world.
Yeah.
I'm doing the solo.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. And I agree. I feel like that's what's crazy. Like what you're talking about right now is when you're saying that I take my mind and I'm using it to change my negative thought, right? So now imagine you can't do that because your mind doesn't allow you to. It's like that's what I was struggling with, where my mind was controlling the situation, not my consciousness,
Mhm.
it's just I was going for the ride, man. And it was like sometimes I was on a rocket ship all the time. And I'm glad that you found those things to do, and I think it's very important to always tap into that childlike mentality, because that's the joy of life.
Mm.
And I think that's why parents, as a parent, when you have children, you kind of see the world through them and see them there to see how they get lit up on Christmas morning. And so, for me, it's like, and it's those are my happiest times is for Christmas for my son. And being outside, like he got his first remote control car, and I think I play with it more than he does. I'll be honest with you. This thing does 35 miles per
No,
hour.
dude, I know where you're going with this because my roommate TJ,
Yeah.
he has I think 2 or 3 monster trucks, and he
Yeah.
has a boat as well.
Oh, does he?
And he loves these things, dude.
Man, this my son's my not my oldest, my brother made one for him, and I'm thinking he's gonna send a remote control car like this big. Things like this, it does 35 miles per
Mm.
hour. So, anyways, but he's outside playing with it and we're making jumps. You know what I mean? It just brings that childhood
Yeah.
feeling back, making jumps. I mean, I don't know about you, but that was like my whole making a jump for everything that I could ride.
You would literally like we'd be in the forest, which was
Yeah.
totally fine back
Yeah.
then to be in the forest
Oh,
as
yeah.
kids, and you would make like you wouldn't even have a shovel. You would just
Yeah.
make some kind of dirt
Dirt
bump
bump.
to just ride your bike over,
100%,
and
or you get some plywood and
yeah,
a brick,
that's it.
whatever you
Yeah,
needed
and
with your
we
BMX
didn't have
bike.
helmets either, which is stupid. But
Oh my
yeah,
gosh! And you remember, like, where were your friends? And all you had to do is find the BMX bikes out in front of the house. You're like, oh, they're over at Greg's house, because you see everyone's bike. You're like, let's go over there. But
time out, time out. Ah, fuck. This is why I know that Life Choices podcast is meant to be. One of the other guests the other day just said the exact same thing about the bicycles outside the house, and you just knew where to go. That's where everyone was.
yeah, everyone was for that moment. Then everyone would get on their bikes and go to. Oh, I have ice pops in the freezer outside in the garage, and then you go eat that poison.
Yeah, yeah. Better than the other poisons we got into later.
Oh no, exactly. So no, I believe that our generation is probably is. It's funny. I read something, and it was like, do you notice, like, people complain about the baby boomers and people complain about Gen Z, but they always leave Gen X alone because it's like we can't really find any flaws in the way that they think. Because I feel like we had the best of both worlds. We were able to have the life without the internet. We were able to grow up, ride our bikes, be outside, get into trouble, almost kill ourselves multiple times on a Saturday. But then we were able to go to our adolescence and go into our young adulthood with the internet as it was growing.
That's true.
So
We did happen to have. We were in our 20s when it really started taking off.
yeah,
And if you did stay with it, you grew with
that's where
it.
where I am now in my business.
Yeah.
All I do is internet marketing, and I do software and things. Like, I would never have been able to, and I'm a learn on the job kind of person, right? So having that technology grow with me as I was growing was better than. I don't think I would be where I am today if I had to go to school for
Oh fuck, dude.
it.
I mean, listen, I'm learning all this shit as I go.
You're doing great, man. I'm real proud of you.
Thank you. I've said this before. I've been successfully failing on so many levels that I've taught myself so much. But if I were to have to go to college
Yeah.
right now and sit in a classroom and be told to do this, I would probably lose my mind.
Oh no, you would just kind of move on to the other thing, right?
Yeah.
But no, listen, failure is the best way to success. I mean, like we've talked about in the last podcast, I've lost businesses, I've sold businesses, I've built businesses, and in every single business I've owned, I've learned what I just shouldn't do on the last one. and kind of move forward in that direction, So it's, and you could see like right now we're kind of having like a look back moment, right? So I haven't been on the podcast in a year. Was one of the first guests, I think.
Yeah.
Look where you are now. I love the vibe, the environment. Just really just is who you as a person.
It's so funny because I had this phone call from someone that was just super proud of me,
Hmm.
and they were a bit apprehensive as to what they wanted to say, but they said it, and I said, "Listen, nothing you say is going to be offensive to me because you're taking the time to call me to let me know you're thinking about me and the podcast."
Yeah,
So right there, that alone,
is a
my
yeah,
cup runneth over. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And then the fact that you feel that it was important that when you woke up today, you had these thoughts that you wanted to reach out to me and tell me, listen, I think you're doing really good, but here's some suggestions that I
of
think might
course.
even help you better. And I'm like, you know what? I think it was like midway through second season, someone said, the harder you work and the more you develop yourself, you will see people will show up
Yeah,
to help you without even asking for anything.
100%.
And it is
Night and day.
true as day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. And you're an antenna. So I really believe everyone's an antenna, and you will attract what you need if you're doing the work on yourself. You
You
know?
receive the energy that you put out there, and if people don't believe that, they need to fucking wake up. I'm
Yeah.
not saying become woke. I'm not
No,
saying
no,
that.
no, no, no.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
wake the fuck up to the realization that there are so many people out there that are speaking about it and have been speaking about it.
Mhm.
Become the best version of you,
Yeah.
and you will attract the best version of others.
100%. And that's like one of the biggest lessons that I try to teach my kids. And lo- thank goodness they're through repetitive efforts they have listened. So just recently my son, my youngest, he's 13, Phoenix, he was in we got into the honor roll again this
Congrats.
thank you. But what I saw was not just that, which I'm of course very proud of him. Every one of his close friends got honor roll too. So he's developed a group of friends that are all like-minded. They're all like working hard at school. They're all in the band together. So I'm seeing him surround himself with good kids, and
And
that's
he's getting that because kids are sponges.
mhm.
They see and imitate the parents.
Yeah.
God willing, most people have
Is
good
that why he keeps
parents.
flexing in the mirror? No, I'm kidding.
Maybe, maybe we're gonna get into the physical health as well in a second, but it's true though.
Just
Like
kidding.
I mean, listen, my father and I did not get along for 19 years that I lived at home.
Yeah.
Not a day went by that I didn't know that he loved me, but we didn't get along.
Yeah.
And ever since I moved out of my house, I've done nothing but aspire to be like him.
Yeah.
Because I saw the man that he was in the community that I grew up in,
Mhm.
and more to the point, at his funeral, I saw 200 people show up
Yeah.
to his funeral to give their respects.
That's
The
amazing.
motherfucker had touched 200 people's lives to the point where they all realized that something was now lost because
Yeah.
he was gone. So to become half the man he was, then check mark, I've done good in life.
Yeah.
So children doing exactly like your child Phoenix is doing is a direct correlation to what he sees every day from you and your wife.
And that makes thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me because it's honestly, we've talked about the things that I've been able to accomplish in my career and my businesses and I've found the perfect person to share this life with as well. But my biggest, honestly, my favorite thing in the world is being a dad. And my favorite thing in the world is watching my kids grow and have real good relationships with them. Since they were little, I talk to them, not at them. They're able to talk to us about anything. We joke, we laugh, just yesterday, you know, I sat down with Phoenix and I had to kind of, I call it recalibrate, because you kind of let them go for a little bit and you see like, especially 13, they start pushing the envelope, and, just getting ready for school in the mornings. And I had to sit with him. I go, we need to be a team here. I'm sticking to what I said I would do. Make sure you have a healthy breakfast. We're up in the morning. You're not doing this by yourself, but you're starting to leave the house without taking care of your responsibilities because you don't have time, you
Mm.
know? So we had to recalibrate. And he looked at me and we had a teaching moment where it was like, as soon as I started bringing up the constructive criticism, he started doing well, and I said, hold it there. I said, I need you to understand something. I'm going to teach you one of the biggest lessons. It took a long time for me to really get through my head. If you really, you need to learn how to say, you know what? You're right. I was wrong and I'm sorry. I said, these are one of those moments where you said, because if you're trying to talk your way out of something that you know you didn't do right, then you people that you're talking to will start losing respect for you and what you have to say. And then you'll start losing something you didn't even know that you're going to miss one day. So he sat down and we had that conversation. What's great about him is we talk, say that this morning, he got everything done. And then we talked about it again so he understands, tell him, and then he got it, you know what I mean? And it's those things that I find like dad moments are really important because I feel like I'm doing it way different than I got it done to me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We just would have gotten hit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, there was this meme and it was just like Gen X brought up on neglect and cigarette smoke. You know what I mean? Like,
Windows rolled up and cigarettes in the car.
Exactly.
It was no big deal.
What are you going to make your dad for Christmas? An ashtray.
Yeah, dude, everyone did that. That's absolutely true.
I know.
It's funny that you bring up the conversation that you had with your son. And again, I don't have kids, but I love especially when the men in that chair talk about it, because I am asking God every day for the opportunity to become a husband, a best friend, and a father. Because the way everyone expresses it to me, the joy
Yeah.
that they get from seeing what they have helped develop.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that you had said is that teaching him to understand that sometimes one needs to listen and just say, listen, I was wrong. Now, when it comes to the apology, this is where I think about it a little differently.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to make
No,
a
please,
comment
I'm here.
and we'll see how it goes. So many times in my life have I said I'm sorry only because I had to say I'm sorry. So many times in my life, I should have said I'm wrong, but I didn't.
Mhm.
So the way I look at it now is if I am wrong, I can fully admit that to the person.
Yeah.
Do I apologize? Not necessarily.
Okay. No, that's all right.
Because I think it's important, whether it is doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is.
Sure.
Every person you interact with, you have a relationship with them. And whoever I may have done wrong by saying something that is incorrect or my actions was wrong, I should be able to say to them, listen, you're 100% correct. I was absolutely wrong in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because by you admitting that you were wrong is an apology in itself, in a way. You know what I mean? And I admit that's probably what I would do now. You know
And
what I
then
mean?
think about it this
But I
way.
think when you talk to a child, they have,
It might, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have children, so
No,
you
yeah,
might
yeah.
actually have to do that. The way in which I'm saying that, or the reason why I would say that is I am now a person of intent. I intentionally listen to my friends. I intentionally talk with my friends. My biggest practice right now is when I'm hanging out with my boys is that I don't have my phone in my hand. They might be, because we hang out at the shop.
Yeah.
There's usually four of us. That's the end of the day, the four of us. And even in the situation where we're all just standing there, maybe there's music on the background, maybe one's working on something, and
Yeah.
three of us, I stand there waiting or starting a conversation while they're on their phones because they might be doing business because everyone owns their own company, but intently being there for them. And when a conversation's ready to go, I'm ready for it. I'm not on my phone fucking scrolling
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? The reason why I said what I said was this. If I give an apology after doing what I just said for so long, people will know what the level of that meant.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't just say sorry for
No
everything I've
reason.
done
Yeah.
wrong. You know
It's
what I'm
more
saying?
impactful.
There's more meaning behind it. It means that person is intently saying, okay, not only was he wrong, but he truly, genuinely is sorry for it. Instead of just saying, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And I agree completely. It has more weight and it's something important to you too. When it's important to you in the way that you say it and when you then it really hits that person for what it is, not just a throwaway word,
Exactly. And it means
which it
more
could
to
easily
them.
become.
Yeah.
Easily become. You did mention you said you wanted to talk about physical health.
Absolutely. I love it. It was like literally my next thought.
Yeah. No
So
worries.
so you've been dealing for 7 months with the
Yeah.
mental health, right? Which we can agree is very, very important. And
Yeah.
if you're able to pinpoint where or what or why, it's a good step in the right direction and then going to get help and getting to that point.
Yeah.
We both go to the gym.
Yeah.
Now I know you go every single day. When I'm out of town, you probably still go every single day. When I'm out of town, I do my best to
Yeah.
keep doing it, but I don't have a gym. I have to do like push-ups and sit-ups and yoga and whatever I can
the
physically
prison
do.
workout.
100%.
It's got a
You
little
get a little room, and that's where you do your exercise. So the level of physical health that you've been doing for the past couple of years, as long as I've known you,
yeah,
is obviously clearly very important to you.
very.
Do you find, because everyone says it does this, but I want the honest opinion, do you find that your physical health, the activities that you do every single day for physical health, helps with your mental health?
I truly believe that, like, how impactful it is for me and my mental health. Let's just talk about the obvious. We'll talk about the obvious first. Number one, it helps your confidence.
Agreed.
Okay, it helps your confidence. Confidence is important. Now, overconfidence is not important, but confidence is important. It helps your confidence to be able to go. I really put effort into myself today, right? And I feel like I feel confident. The other thing too for me, mental health wise, I've noticed that I really need a dose of endorphins every morning to really get my day started. And, to get my body moving, to get things going, it really helps my clarity in my mind. Because as you know, I run multiple companies, right? So that's a lot of responsibilities, a lot of moving parts. So in the morning for me, what it does, it unclogs everything in my mind as I'm working out to start thinking clearly for the day. It works hand in hand. And I think that endorphin that's kicking into my mind while I'm working out makes me clear. It's almost like a better than a cup of coffee, you know? So then all of a sudden my mind and my body are working as a team, and you mentioned that when you travel and you try to, get your workout in, and I've noticed that if I'm not able to work out, and a workout doesn't have to be like a 2-hour workout, you know what I mean? I'll hit the Peloton and then do something else. But I've noticed that I get a little depressed
When you don't.
when I don't work out. I've noticed that I'm just a little bit more down. And again, the word depressed could be really, that's a big part. It's not really that. It's more like my energy levels down. And, I don't
That's
mean
a brilliant,
depressed as in I'm sad.
right. That's a brilliant way to say it, is that
Yeah,
your energy level is just different.
it's different. And my day goes differently, you know? So I really believe, and there's so many other things too, is as I'm getting older, I'm turned 46, and, you know, I really feel that I'm very fortunate that, working out has been a part of my life since I was a teenager. And then I'll attribute it to my brother because he got me to the gym, but more because I really believe, you don't think about this when you're young, but right now I'm looking over like the next half of my life. And what are the things that I need for that to be a successful life? I need my mental health and my physical health. Cause that's when you get to your 70s and 80s, what everyone says is your health is the most important thing. Your physical health is the most important thing. So I really feel that because I made the decision to work out in my first half of my life, it's gonna make my second half of my life a lot more enjoyable because I won't be falling apart. I won't, certain things, because let's be honest, you can't pick this up later in life. When people are like, I never worked out in my life, but I'm gonna start now and they're 40, that's gonna last 20 minutes. They're
Listen,
gonna
I say it all the time, and I'm a responsible workout junkie, because when I am gone for periods of time and I don't have a gym to lift weights,
yeah,
I do some sort of physical activity because my lower back is pain because
yes,
of standing all the time.
yeah,
My joints, like, just things just don't feel as oiled and limber,
100%.
right? And then when I get back to the gym, it takes me 3 to 4 weeks to get back to where I once was.
Yes,
And that's
yes,
because 46.
yeah,
I can't go back to the gym after 3 months out at sea and push, 50s.
yeah,
No problem. I
yeah,
got to start back down at 25s
yeah.
and build that back up. So if you wait until later on in life, into the
Oh, you're
winter
right.
of your life,
Yes.
then it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah, it's not a habit. It's not part of your life. It's not part of your daily routine, And that's one thing I tell my kids too, in terms of physical activities and working out. It's like if it's not part of your daily routine from like early in life, it's never going to be part of your let's say it is part of your daily routine, but it's not a real workout. It's like I'm told I need to come in here and do this, so I'm going to come in here and walk on the treadmill at 5 miles per hour 30 minutes a day, and then I got it. You know what I mean? It's reactive, not proactive.
And it's not impossible to start it up at the age of
I don't
70.
I
It's
don't
just going
think
to be
so.
done
No.
differently,
It's
and it's going to take you longer to maintain it.
yeah. Maintain it. Also, your body's not used to building that muscle too. And again, I'm not a health expert. Just talking in what I've observed and what I've seen. It's like if your body's not used to working out and then you're trying to do it, it's really number one, it's mentally challenging because it's very difficult. So as you know, a lot of people when they get challenged and it's not instant gratification or an instant like instant gratification, you give up a lot quicker. So that's another thing too. Is like I feel that you know what, I'm gonna get in shape, I'm gonna eat better, and then there's no instant gratification because they never really learned to put the work in for a year to get the result.
They don't know what discipline is.
Yeah, and then
Right.
next thing you know, they're just giving up on it. And I've seen it multiple times. Again, my own experience. I'm not saying everyone's like that, and not everyone is like anything. So, so for me, I really believe that it's hand in hand because imagine your mental health and your two different people. Somebody that's never worked out, they don't really like to work out. They don't have any physical like activity for the day, and then somebody over here that does. When you get older and your body's falling apart and this person's isn't, who's going to have a better mental state, right? This person is going to be dumb, sad. And next thing you know, that's the person that talks about every ailment they have to their friends, right? And
And it perpetuates the reality
it
of what you
perpetuates the
have.
reality. So I'm just saying mental health, physical health. I just think, and again, not an expert because everyone could be really healthy, but
You are an expert. You're an expert on your
me,
your
yeah,
temple, and
yeah,
that's all it is.
yeah.
You know what works over there.
Yeah, and it really does work hand in hand to answer your question. I believe it does.
I mean, I falter from time to
Of
time.
course,
I
of
make
course.
excuses, but when I am regularly at the gym on the schedule in which I want, because I know a routine is what I need to be
Yes,
successful.
especially when you get thrown out of your routine a lot with
Oof.
what you do.
But the daily gym, the motivation that comes from the consistent discipline of it
Yeah,
is what I'm looking
I
for.
like that. I like that. It's not just the physical activity of
No,
it.
but I do love going to the gym.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it
yeah,
because I'm showing up for myself. And over a long period of time, I know that the result I'm going for is going to it'll just be there one day
yeah,
because I'm doing it all the time. The idea of, young people saying like, I don't have time. This is probably one of the newest topics that I've been kind of harping on
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
in season 3, which is making the time. And I always bring it up by saying, how many hours do you sleep in a day? Most of us around this time in our journey, we say between 6 and 7 hours is what we get, which clearly gives us 17, 18 hours of
Of
possible
course.
productivity in a day. Sometimes we falter and we do nothing because those days are needed. But saying that you don't have time in a day to do something to me is a horseshit excuse.
I agree
And
completely.
I've used it before.
Oh no, yeah, I was an expert at it.
My 20s.
Yeah,
Never had time to do shit. Definitely had time to sit on the couch, smoke weed, and go out and get hammered at night.
yeah. But
Plenty of time for
how
that
am I going to
shit.
fit working out?
Yeah. How am I going to fit 1 hour of my life into this day of just sitting around doing nothing?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Priorities.
it is the new age idea, not the new age idea, but the idea of self accountability, where you can literally look at your day. And even if you're a high school student or a college student, you know how many classes you have in a day. You know what time you have to be at school and then leave at school.
Yeah,
You know if you have a free period or not a free period. Lunchtime's an hour, maybe.
yeah.
I don't know what lunchtime is in
No,
school now.
no.
But the point is, if there are certain things that you know are going to make your life better, make you happier, make you rest when you're supposed to rest, as in sleep time, things that you can do to implement those practices where you facilitate, I need 30 minutes for it here, I need an hour for this here.
Mhm.
I'm going to I'm going to dedicate 25 minutes every day of reading a book.
Yeah, yeah.
Start it with 5 minutes, whatever it is.
Start with 5 minutes. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to.
But just planning your day out and making an idea of what that schedule is going to look like.
You stick to it. It's amazing.
And you don't have to get mad at yourself if you don't complete everything.
No, look at
But
what you did complete behind you.
100%. How many check marks did I get off that day? Oh, look, I do have time in a day to do something.
Yeah, and you hit on something that I think I learned a lesson in business that translates to finding the time in the day. So what somebody told me it really worked well in my life was that every person is different when they're at their peak of the day, mentally, productivity. if you've got a morning person having a 6 a.m. job, they're not going to be as productive as if you have a morning person at a 6 a.m. job. Everyone's different, right? So what I was told was, Michael, and again, as being a CEO, and like, you really have to you have to utilize your day very, very well to accomplish a lot. So they said, what would you, if you were to say, Michael, what was the time frame do you think that you're at your best? And it really made me think. I'm a morning person. So like I wake up at 6, I kind of organize my day while I'm having my coffee on my laptop for blah, 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 blah. I get ready for the gym, get to the gym, thinking about my day. Boom, my day's getting executed right after the gym. I'm ready to go. And then they said, okay, so what time do you think you start falling off? And I'm like, oh, that's a good question. Cause I'm just in my head, I'm like, I'm just gonna go till it's done. Right. And I said, you know what? Honestly, 3 o'clock. He goes, it should. He goes, well, it should be 3 o'clock. You're up at 6. I mean, like, you shouldn't be going from 6 to 6 every single day. And he goes, well, then why don't you start planning your meetings and your calls and everything during the time that you're at your peak? Now, that being said, it's been a blessing. So I don't make any scheduled appointments after 3. I just kind of, go about, just kind of let the day kind of chill out for me. It's been night and day. Physical activity, I believe each and every one of us should know when is that time to do it that works for them. For example, I have a friend that goes to the gym at night, and for me, it's like, like, I mean, if I worked out at 8 o'clock at night, I'd be up in like in my bed, just like looking at the ceiling from like the adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a morning person, gym person, right? And I think that's also important too to figure out where, if you try to fit your an afternoon workout where you would be better in the morning, you're going to give up at some point. I'm just saying, maximize what time of day do you think it works best for you too? For me, I just like to get it done in the morning and then the day goes. But some people like to look forward to it. I'm just saying, it's good to find
And
that
some
time.
people just, they just want more sleep in the morning hours and go
Yeah.
to work just before, like wake up, go to work. And so by the time they're done everything, the evening gym session is what they have.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm with you on that.
Uh,
I'm a 5 a.m. up
yeah.
person. I do my meditation, my coffee, spend time with my dog, bring her to the studio, drop her off, go to the gym, get that done. And I want to say, honestly, 2 p.m., like I know 2 to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
every day is, especially if I'm laying on the couch doing my
Oh
editing,
yeah.
right? I'm like, oh, fuck, really, dude? Like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
It's starting to happen.
Yeah, but then I'm aware of myself and I know that I still want to be productive and I know I still want to get shit done.
Yeah.
So I take 20-minute nap
You
and
should.
sometimes it's 10.
Yeah.
It's like I close my eyes and I let my brain float away and my body internally almost tells me, okay, that's good enough. And then I get up and I do a little bit more, but I don't run myself ragged. Like if it's
No.
4:30 and I'm done, I'm like, all right, you know what?
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good effort.
it's because those thoughts are a little bit more like, oh, you know what? And let me write it down.
Hmm.
It's not like you're in the mode. You know what I mean? You kind of like just
Writing
go.
shit down saves my fucking life
Oh
right now.
yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Oh, I have a task manager on my cell phone. It's like put it on there and it gets out of my head because I really believe that like it's such a good practice to before you go to sleep, write anything you need to do the next day down because
I love this. I was gonna bring that up.
it comes out of your brain.
When you say, like, do the things that you're the best at the time in which you're best
Best at it.
at,
Yeah.
awesome. And this is funny because I just started this practice,
Yeah.
like, as we're recording this, it's the end of February. So
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I started this new practice where, whether it's in my cell phone or in a book, I write down what I would like to get done tomorrow and what times I would like to get that done.
Hmm.
That's one less thing I have to think about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because now I just refer back to my phone or my book and
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay. So I did, and I do, like, I write down all the little things.
Yeah.
Wake up, have coffee with sushi,
Yeah.
meditate,
Yeah.
do your 3 speeches that you do every morning for gratitude, prayer,
Hmm.
and chief aim. Go to the gym, start editing, visit with guests, and like whatever I think is going to happen the next day. And man, what I get done, what I get accomplished.
Yeah. Also, it's not running around in your brain when you're trying to rest your mind. You know,
100%.
I think that's extremely important too, is that, it's it's freeing in a way because you're like, oh, it's written down. I can just pop that out. I don't need to think about that anymore.
Well, what you're touching on here, we're going to finish off today. We'll get into
Yeah.
this the next time you come back, but
Sure.
it's called letting go of the day.
Yeah.
And whether you say it with auto suggestion, just saying it out loud in your bedroom at night, or you write it down, all the things that you did that you're proud of in the day, all the things that you wish, all the things that you may have done in a way in which you could do better the next day.
Yeah.
But whether it's a positive or negative, you let go of it because it's now in the past. You can't do anything about it. Why not get some really good rest like you deserve
Yes.
and not worry anymore about yesterday?
Yeah. And I'll leave it with this. If you want to accomplish those things 100% with 100% energy and 100% um, uh, using 100% of yourself to execute it, then you need to free your mind to let go of the day before. Because if you don't, and you don't get that rest, you're not going to accomplish those things at 100%.
You're starting the next day off in the negative.
Negative. You're or depleted already.
Mhm.
You're depleted before you even get started.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it. Move it on. Move it on to the list for the next day, and you'll be just fine. You can sleep well.
You can sleep well. It's still going to be there.
Michael, thank you so very much for coming by again.
Appreciate
As
you.
you know, the time flies when we're having a good conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
I always so enjoy this, and again, I'm just really proud of what you've done. I mean, your skill set has gone through the roof in terms of interviewing, and I'm really
Thank
proud
you.
of you, man. You're
I
awesome.
appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
For all my lifers that come back each and every week, thank you so much for joining and staying with our community. We'll see everyone back here next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the Lyfe Choyces podcast. Much love, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You are now about
The Journey, Lyfe Choyces podcast.